This video is 100% non-profit and for educational purposes only. Any attempts to remove this from the internet will be met with a legal challenge.
Hey guys, it's Eugenia. So today I'm going to be doing a makeup tag thing of how I used to do my makeup. When I actually first started wearing makeup, I was pretty young. I was probably around like 10 years old. And I would just wear like really basic makeup, kind of just like lip gloss kind of stuff and things like that. And I would pretty much just wear like Powerpuff Girls makeup and red and things like that because I just like was obsessed with the Powerpuff Girls. I actually still do love the Powerpuff Girls.
You have to check in the Powerpuff Girls, see what kind of conditioning and programming goes into that. But here to talk about Eugenia Cooney, who is a popular YouTube channel here. She has 750,000 plus subs, and she does makeup tutorials and stuff like that, beauty and fashion. And I think it's pretty obvious that she is extremely underweight, dangerously underweight, what we call anorexia. And this is an extremely dangerous sort of condition to put yourself in. Now, I kind of thought when I was watching this, and I'll just play this in the background here, the way that she is using her arms and, you know, like constantly displaying how skinny she is. You know, I was like, is that purposely done? Like, is she purposely showing off? So a kind of thought went through my head of, you know, like, is this a possible actor who's acting out and doing their part to condition kids and stuff like that? But she's been on for 3 years. So you have this YouTube channel for 3 years, and I went back to check, and her earliest videos, she's maybe not quite as skinny, but she's pretty damn skinny as well. So I think it's a serious problem that this girl has. Now, the reason why I thought, you know, for a second, because it's like these people are narcissists, is clear. Okay, anybody that has makeup tutorial type channels or 50 things you need to know about me, that's narcissism. Usually most people that put their face all over YouTube suffer from narcissism. And it's one of the biggest things that is being pushed. So she obviously watches her videos, and yet she doesn't see what many others will see. And then if you're stuck in an echo chamber, so she does have an echo chamber because she has 750,000. She has nearly 1 million people that are subbed to her, 750,000. And I would imagine that most of those people don't see anything wrong with her. And it's not that there's anything wrong with her content per se. I don't know. You know, I don't have a problem with beauty channels or anything like that. I mean, people will do whatever they want as long as they're not breaking the law. You have a right to have a YouTube channel, so I'm not here to judge your content. But this girl is dangerously skinny. I mean, it is serious anorexia here, and that could, you know, seriously impact your health. I mean, it will. So there was another YouTuber that, you know, got on the drama alert because he covered it, and I saw this, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come in and talk about this problem, anorexia and weight and image and the whole YouTube sort of phenomena. So just to begin, I want to just contrast to another YouTuber who is Boogie2988 here. And I've been watching Boogie for a bit here, off and on sort of thing. And, you know, he strikes me as a good guy, genuine, you know, really seriously obese. I mean, I think people have told me he's over 500 pounds. Looks that way, and he has all kinds of health problems. So if you see one of his latest videos here that was uploaded a couple of days ago, new meds, anxiety, and ER visits. So he gets things like panic attacks, and he has high blood pressure, and I don't know about diabetes and stuff like that, but I mean, it's just a laundry list when you're that large. Well, this is the other end of the spectrum. I mean, they're like polar opposites, and yet they're both gravely ill, and people need to help these people. You know, they really do. So like when I saw Boogie, and I think I might have left a message here. I don't see it. Maybe he took it down, but I left a message because I saw him in this video. I think it was this, or no, it was another video where he was drinking a Mountain Dew, and I was like, holy shit, you know, like, dude, you know, I understand that you got a real serious eating disorder, but the worst thing that you could drink is like the soft drinks. It's the worst of them all. It's the #1 cause of obesity in the world is soft drinks. Corn sugar, right? And it works. It wreaks havoc on your internal organs and your liver, especially. And it creates like especially the diet drinks. They're very very dangerous, and that's what I saw him drinking. Diet Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew has brominated vegetable oil, so any of these citrus type soft drinks available in the United States, they're banned around the world because of the brominated vegetable oil. Brominated vegetable oil is a very toxic substance. It's extremely toxic. It's banned in Europe, banned in Japan, I think even in Russia. So people are drinking this shit. And then people drink diet drinks thinking that diet drinks will keep them thinner when it's the opposite. Diet drinks will make you gain more weight because it fucks with your own internal chemistry, and your body tries to compensate for the lack of sugar that it thinks it's getting, and then it holds on to the sugars that you eat later, sort of thing. I can't really explain it. I'm not the one to. I'm not here to talk. I'm not a dietitian or nutritionist or biologist or anything like that, but I think most of us know. And we can know this from our own personal experience that if you're overweight and you're in bad shape and you're not exercising, you're not going to feel well. And it's not going to have a good impact on you, you know. So it pains me to see people like this. And I understand with Boogie's situation, you know, he suffered from severe abuse as a child. So that abuse forced, you know, he found, like, I mean, the only escape he could get from his torment was through eating. And that's a lot of people go that way. I mean, a lot of people end up, you know, eating out of depression sort of thing and anxiety. And, you know, I totally understand it. And the problem is, of course, the big corporations that are out there, you know, that, you know, Coca-Cola and Kellogg's and all these, they don't give a flying fuck. In fact, they want people to be fat, really, because that means they'll buy more of their products. So they don't give a shit about your health, and they won't tell you the things that need to be told. So, yeah. So getting back to Eugenia Cooney here, yeah, I'd like to help this girl, and the way to help her is to get her out of her echo chamber, because if everyone's telling her she's fine, there's nothing wrong with her, that's obviously not the case. All right, it's obviously not the case. I mean, this girl, I would estimate, is like 70, maybe tops 80 pounds, you know, and you doing to your body, it's just as bad as what's happening with Boogie. His body's being overtaxed because of the massive amount of weight. So everything he does, like just getting up off the couch to go to the washroom, or climb a flight of steps, is 10 or 20 or 100 times harder than it is for a normal person because of the state they're in. And this girl, like, it's the opposite, but it's similar. It's like your body's being strained because you're starving it. And you're starving it probably because of image and all this. I don't really know. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. I'm just going to tell you that anorexia is very dangerous, just like obesity is. And that people like this should not be encouraged to continue, you know, having this type of lifestyle and having that type of body. If they're not going to come out and address it and talk about it and try to overcome it. And I can say with at least Boogie, he talks about it all the time. And he talks about all the struggles and how awful he feels a lot of time and all that. And I think that helps, because then a lot of people that listen to him that might be suffering from obesity will see, you know what, I got to do something about this. I don't want to end up, you know, like so-and-so, or I don't want to end up dead. And I'd hate to see Boogie die. You know, I'd love to see him get on some sort of serious sort of weight loss thing and all that, and you know, really recover and live a long, healthy, happy life. But much easier said than done. So I wanted to get into a little bit. She does address, so I'm going to borrow a little bit of this video off the Light Twins here. I don't know who these guys are, but they did a video commenting on her anorexia. And this is dated from April the 14th of this year.
Why are you so skinny? Is it a medical condition? No, it's not like a medical condition. People, like, I don't know, say I've said a lot of things, or like, I don't know. People like tend to want to like talk about why they think I look like too skinny in their opinion, or I don't even know why people like to discuss how I look so much or whatever. But no, I'm just kind of naturally like that, I guess. So there isn't really a reason. I don't really know why so many people, I guess, like to go in my comments and discuss like my body or whatever. I don't really know, I guess, why it matters to so many people, but for whatever reason, all these people on YouTube like to go and discuss that. So I don't know, it's crazy, but
Yeah, and I don't want to be kind. I don't want to be cruel here, but it's like the freak show thing, right? So you mean the reason why people are commenting is because they're like me and they see you for the first time, and I just saw you for the first time, you know, just a little bit before I started doing this video, and I was like, my jaw hit the floor, and I'm like, oh my god, this girl is extremely thin. Reminds me of Christian Bale when he did his, you know, he lost, I don't know, what did he lose, 70, 80 pounds or something to play this role, 63 pounds for the machinist, right? So there he is as Batman, and there he is as the machinist, and pretty crazy movie. But it's very dangerous to get yourself this thin, and that's one of the most extreme things in acting that somebody has done is to lose that much weight in order to play a role. I think Robert De Niro did something kind of similar for one of his roles. I don't know if it was Taxi Driver or what, but this was more to the extreme. Anorexia is dangerous. So let me just see here if there's anything else I want.
So we heard it right there. She says that there isn't a reason that her body is naturally this way. If you know anybody that thinks that she has the disease, please show them this video.
You're watching me in the hospital. I'm so sorry.
As for natural, does this body type look normal in any way? The fact is, she is severely underweight and at serious risk of heart failure. And at the age of 21, her body will not hold out that much longer.
Just like take everything really seriously. Like, yeah.
And what she really needs is for her fans to stop saying that she looks great and that she doesn't need to change. This is only encouraging her eating disorder. We need to help her get healthy in a positive way.
Yeah, I have to agree with these guys and anyone else taking this. That's exactly what I'm saying, is that if you live in an echo chamber, and it's very easy to live in echo chambers on YouTube and on the internet because people gravitate to people like themselves. And then, you know, you have the SJW whole thing, you know, where, you know, anybody should be, you know, like there's this sort of push with the LGBTQ WXYZ sort of agenda where it's like everyone is awesome, you know, doesn't matter how freakish you look, it's the rest of the world that's wrong and everyone should accept you sort of thing. And that's something, the cultural Marxism that they're pushing, a lot of this is just confusion that they don't care about you. They really don't. And this type of illness is psychological more than anything else. I mean, it's somebody who doesn't realize how dangerously, you know, underweight they are. Now with Boogie, he totally realizes how. I mean, he knows it. He lives it every day. This girl, it's a little bit different though, because I mean, she's at the other end of the spectrum. But those guys are actually right in a sense. So let's take a look here off of www.eatingdisorders.hope. I'll post a link for this below, and we'll talk about the long-term impact of anorexia for fans of this girl, so that they do not fall down this path. You hear the word anorexia, you think weight loss, if only the consequence of this illness was so limited. Although anorexia is a psychological disease, it behaves like a physical disease, namely cancer. A cancer cell may begin its life in the breast, brain, or bone, but given enough time, it will metastasize throughout the body with a singular goal of destroying all healthy tissue it encounters. Similarly, anorexia may start with a simple diet and associated weight loss, but once the diet gets a firm grip on the subject, it too metastasizes, and it doesn't stop at merely ravaging a woman's body. Instead, and it could be a man, of course, too, but it's usually women. Instead, it strives to destroy her mind, spirit, relationships, future, and ultimately her life. Sadly, it is often successful on every front. Now, there are some famous people, and Karen Carpenter is the one I was just thinking of, so they talk about her here. So let's read this. Anorexia kills people. In fact, this disease enjoys the highest fatality rate of any psychiatric disorder. In the case of celebrity death, the media provides coverage. Perhaps the first recognized case was that of Karen Carpenter, right? Of the Carpenter family there. The singers, what were they called? I can't even remember An anorexic who relied on Ipasec for vomiting. She died of heart failure. Years later, she was followed by Christina Renee Heinrich, a world-class gymnast who died in 1984, and Anna Carolina Reston Mason. There's too many names there. A famous Brazilian model died in 2006, and Isabelle Caro, a French actress and model, succumbed to the disease in 2010. Interestingly and ironically, this second model had displayed her shockingly skinny body in an advertising campaign designed to raise awareness of anorexia. And part of the whole modeling thing, it's one of the things that people have been really critical of runway models, and that that they're tall and thin, and then they get themselves rake thin, and then they're at the point where, and you get to that point. I mean, food works both ways too. When you starve yourself enough for long enough, then you start to get turned off by food. And conversely, if you use food to overcome stress and stuff like that, you'll just start eating more and more, and your stomach starts to expand. And when your stomach expands, it gets hungrier a lot quicker, and then it takes a lot more food to fill it. And then the trick that is played with corn sugar, is one of the reasons why they use it in everything, is that it tells your brain that you haven't eaten enough. So when you're eating corn sugar, or you're consuming corn sugar, which is the number one ingredient in soft drinks and in sugar snacks, your brain is being tricked into thinking it's not eating enough. So the act of eating it actually makes you hungrier. And that's why you'll often see people that eat, donuts and chocolate bars and stuff like that still be hungry after they ate, and they can't understand why. And then they'll want something sweet. And then, of course, the sweetness, crave. It's like a sickness. And it's you need discipline, right? It's really scary. So the medical implications. So they say there's thousands of people that die every year, right? Because you hear about the celebrities, but you don't hear about thousands and thousands of people around the world that are dying. Initially, the health consequences related to anorexia are noticeable. Emaciated appearance of dry skin and hair, bluish fingertips. Unfortunately, the long-term and far more severe medical issues cannot be seen on the surface. The brain actually shrinks due to a lack of nutrition, with a commensurate lowering of the IQ. The skeletal system is damaged, especially if the anorexia occurs in adolescence. That's very important, because young people are the ones that are more likely to fall into this disorder before bones are fully developed. Nearly 90% of women with anorexia experience osteopenia, which is loss of bone calcium. And that can lead to bone cancer, brittle bones, broken bones, and all kinds. 40% have osteoporosis, right? And that's the advanced loss of bone density, and the bone loss is usually permanent. Pretty serious. So think about it. If you're one of these people that goes to this girl's channel and shouts down people who tell her she's way too skinny, you're actually harming this girl. You're actually the bad person, not me. And people that know me know that I can be pretty hard on people, but I try to be fair. But and I'm trying to be sympathetic here, because I'm saying, this girl's got a serious problem. I hate to see her die. Hate to see anyone die because of anything, really. And I'd hate to see Boogie pass away because of his weight, have a heart attack or a stroke or something like that. But these things will happen, and people got to learn from them. Hopefully people can learn before they do happen, and reverse the damage. Because the entire hormonal system is compromised by starvation, infertility results and can be permanent. Perhaps the most endangered organ in the body is the heart. In fact, the most common cause of death in anorexia is heart disease. Much of this is related to muscle deterioration. As the body strives to maintain life, it starts consuming its own muscle. In effect, it starts eating itself. The heart is not immune. Now, I know a little bit because I studied anthropology way back when I was in college before going to university, and your body, like, we're cavemen. That's what we are. We're hunter gatherers. Whether we've got cell phones and jet planes, it doesn't really matter. We've only been in this city states for about 10,000 years tops, or maybe 20 at the most. And for the other millions of years of our evolution, we were hunter-gatherers and scavengers and whatever else, right? So we're really just caveman with cell phones. And their body is built in a certain way. So you see, in the wintertime, you've got bears, or you got bears right now at this point. In fact, there was a story the other day on the CBC. So maybe I can find this and just as a little antidote to this whole thing. So CBC bears, I'll just look that up. See if, whoop. Yeah, okay, this is the story here. And you had these extremely aggressive grizzly bears come on to this southern Albertan ranch sort of thing, and they broke through the fence, and they were 3 of them, and they weren't being scared by anything. People were in the car and the truck beeping at them and charging towards them, and the bears didn't care because they saw some ducks and they were hungry. Well, the bears are fattening up because they're about to go into hibernation. They'll go into hibernation once the snows start to come, right? And they're able to slow down their hearts, so they have to put on a lot of weight. Humans are not all that different. We don't hibernate, but we would typically eat a lot at certain times of the year in order to pack on weight. And then you would have your fasting times, right? So there's a reason to it when the October sort of festivals and stuff like that, where the harvest would be enjoyed, sort of thing, if it was a good year, and then you'd have your fasting times as well because food would be short. So we're meant to store enough fat on our body in order to survive if we have to make it through, weeks or months of relative, not starvation, but low nutrition sort of thing. So it's not normal for us to be either extremely thin or extremely fat, obviously. You can have a little bit of fat on you. It's not so bad if you keep yourself fit and exercise, sort of thing, and you keep yourself healthy. And that's kind of my trade-off, is that I know I'm not ideal weight, but I exercise every day, or at least I try to, and I keep myself fit, and keep my weight regular. But this girl here needs to be told loud and clear that her situation is dangerous, and if she dies and you're somebody that supports her in these comments, right, and you say all these things, you look so gorgeous, you look so pretty, and then she ends up dead in a year or two, it's partially going to be your fault for not telling her the truth and not being honest. And that's a problem that you're going to get on YouTube, is that people won't be honest, or people are also sick as well. Like, there's a lot of sick people on YouTube, so they'll gravitate towards each other. So you might have a lot of anorexic girls who look up at this girl and say, well, this girl's awesome because she's extremely skinny like me, and yet she doesn't care, and she feels that she has the right, she has the right to have a YouTube channel and have fun and, talk about normal things, and people shouldn't judge her. But that's not true. People are not judging her because she's annoying or she's stupid or anything. People are judging her because they're saying she's very skinny and that she could die of her eating disorder. That's what people are saying. And if you don't help somebody who is gravely ill, and you encourage them to continue living that lifestyle, well then, you're guilty of you're certainly not helping the person. Let's put it that way. So that's my opinion on it. I hope Eugenia Cooney sees this and starts to eat more and realize, that it's important that if you have a really big audience like she does with 750,000 plus listeners, that you have an influence on a lot of young girls, and a lot of young girls might follow your suit, which is very, very bad, very dangerous. So please tell Eugenia Cooney to put on some weight. Leave her a nice comment like I'll do here. please do something about your weight before you get too sick to recover. All right, and I'll probably get voted down for that, but at least, you know, you try to tell her. And if enough people do, perhaps she'll start to change. And people around her should also be. I mean, they should bear some responsibility. This girl's now 3 years that she's been on YouTube, and I went back and checked her earliest videos, and she was pretty skinny to start with. Maybe she's gotten a bit thinner, but 3 years in this state with this level of anorexia. And we think about Karen Carpenter. There was another one recently. I think it was Brittany Murphy, who was also, they said, potentially anorexic because she was extremely skinny. So, you know, and as I said, the modeling sort of world promotes this extremely skinny thing, and it's a very psychological thing for girls to be obsessed with. So she probably looks at herself all the time and thinks, wow, I'm too fat or whatever, and thinks of ways of getting thinner. Anyways, I'd like to hear from you, especially if you're young and you're coming here, you're a fan of this girl. You know, you bear some responsibility. You should be telling this girl to start eating more and start put on more weight. And she doesn't have to be, you know, she doesn't have to be meaty or anything. She just needs to put on weight. She needs to put on about 20 pounds. And then she's fine. And then we'll all be happy. And then you can go on and join her channel. And she can go on having a normal, healthy life. But at this rate, at the way she's going, I have to agree with the others that are coming out and saying that she is putting herself in her early grave.